Morning, rabbit lovers. Welcome to the Happy Harvest Homestead. We already know that the meat rabbits in my colony know which plants they should eat and which plants they should not eat and how much of things to eat. I have been feeding my rabbits all sorts of wild plants for years, and I don't really care what I get for them. I try to avoid things I know are poisonous, but for the most part I just forage whatever for them and I let them choose for themselves what to eat and what not to eat, and they know what's good for them and what's not. You guys may recall that one time when I picked them a whole bunch of perilla and they didn't eat it at all, and come to find out later, even though it's really good for humans and there's all these health benefits for livestock including rabbits, it's actually not good for them, it's toxic, so they didn't eat any of that, and I thought that was kind of weird at the time, but now I know why. But today we're going to put their instincts to the test. I'm going to forage a whole bunch of plants I know are poisonous for them or are toxic or just they shouldn't have, and then I'm going to pick some plants I know are really good for them and see what they do. I looked online and I found this very comprehensive list of things you shouldn't feed your rabbits. I have gone to this website before for information about rabbits, and I trust them, kind of, I guess. But some of the things on this list, I know I feed my rabbits and they eat just fine, even though they said they're poisonous. Sometimes they eat a lot of it, sometimes they just eat a little bit. So, for me personally, I trust my rabbits to know what's good and what's not good for them more than I trust the lists us humans make of what we think we know about rabbits. So it's very possible that we'll be seeing some rabbits eating things that are said to be bad for them, and it'll actually turn out that they're not bad for them, or my rabbits eat them anyways and aren't affected negatively at all. So I take anything that people say are bad for rabbits, I take that advice with a grain of salt. So let's start foraging. Okay, let's get some dandelions. Here's a good one. Okay, this looks like a good amount of safe greens. Let's go get some toxic greens. Okay, so over here we have a big patch of what I believe this is called horse nettle, and it's supposedly poisonous for livestock. And I know our goats stay far, far away from it, but in my experience, the rabbits don't seem to mind eating it. They'll eat a little bit. I haven't ever seen them eat an entire thing, but I guess we'll see today, huh? And it's really pokey and very spiny, so I don't want to touch it with my hands that much, so I'm just gonna use my little clippers. So now we have equal amounts of both toxic plant and safe plant. I'm gonna go feed them to the rabbits and see what they say about it. It's hard to do everything one-handed, but it can be done. Hey girls! Bye girls! Okay, so their hay, water, and greens are all ready to go for the day. I just gave them a whole bunch of fresh greens over there, so they may not want to come eat these ones, because they already have a whole bunch. But we'll see. Ready? Here we go. They look excited. There we go. Hey, it kind of looks like half is on one side, half's on the other. Let's see what happens. I see lots of sniffing. You sniffing? So they're sniffing and nibbling. Look at that. Look at that nibbling. So interesting, isn't it? You're sniffing. Oh, you found that. How yummy. Good job, Ronwin. So Ronwin was smelling the toxic greens and nibbled them a little bit. Then he found the safe greens and he's chowing down on those. Oh, and now looks like he's going, oh, no. Toxic greens are just in his way. Oh yeah, he has a huge bite of dandelion. How good. Good boy. So Ronwin is happy eating. Acrobat was sniffing around a little bit at first, but she ran away. Oh, are you trying some too, Acrobat? Oh look, Ronwin just dug some of the poisonous stuff out of his way. Now he's eating it.
Very interesting. So Acrobat has Dandelion. Ronwin is, oh, he's just digging the poisonous things out of the way. Oh, interesting. Oh, and now Zuzu's here too. Get out of the bowl. Thank you. Now Iantha's here too. Oh my goodness, it's a party. Zuzu, stop being in the bowl. Thank you. Okay, so it looks like a whole bunch of the poisonous stuff has been dug out by Ronwin, and the others are just enjoying the dandelion, which is good. This is all very good. All very interesting too. Maybe I'll come back in a little bit once all the dandelion is eaten, and I'll put the horse nettle back in the bowl just so it's easier for me to see what happens to it. Okay, so I'm going to clean up this mess that I've made. Or at least try to. Okay, so dandelions are all safe in here, and then I know this is pokey, I don't want to get poked. That's back here. There's another pokey over here. Yeah, there we go. And this one. Nope, come on. I don't want to get poked, but I want to grab it. There we go. Okay. And then I guess let's kind of try to have it so that they don't dig it out anymore. So toxic greens on this side and dandelions on that side. So before each one were pretty much the same amount, but now the toxic greens are a lot more than the dandelions. And look, Ivy is eating some toxic greens. Well, supposedly toxic. I guess right now we're learning that they're not very toxic, or at least not toxic in small amounts. And then she found dandelion. Zuzu, what are you doing? Oh, Acrobat's eating some poisonous greens. You're eating some? Thank you. And of course we know by now the dandelions are really good and everyone likes them. So good job. They're really healthy for you guys too. You're just chowing down on those toxic greens, aren't you, Acrobat? Here comes Ronwin. And of course you have to stand in the bowl to eat the dandelions. You couldn't just go on the side. She's still chowing down. This is so interesting. Okay, Ronwin. See you later. I'm gonna come check back on you in a few hours. Enjoy your greens. And don't spill them again, okay, Bubba? Okay, bye. Okay, it's now much later in the day. I'm coming to check on how the greens are doing, and it looks like everything is empty. I see like 1 or 2 or 3 little bits of leaf. All of them look like the toxic plant, but either they spilled all their greens or ate all of them. And it might be hard to see, but I'm looking under here for spilled plants. I can't seem to see any. It's easier for me to see than the camera's picking up. Okay, so I guess the final conclusion is they ate all of the dandelion and most of the horse nettle, leaving only a few leaves. So that is day 1's experiment all complete. Good morning! Today is day 2 of the experiment. I'm going to take 2 different plants, one safe and one toxic, feed it to the rabbits, and see what happens. In my doing chores in the rabbitry this morning, I'm noticing all the rabbits are alive and they look normal. No one looks sickly or strange or dead. So eating all of both of the types of plants yesterday didn't cause any immediate ill effects. They still have some forage in their feeder left over from yesterday, but I haven't filled it up fresh yet today. So hopefully they're more hungry for greens and are willing to eat a lot more of them with me watching, so we don't have to come check back later. Okay, let's see. Today let's do some plantain. I have both broadleaf plantain and narrowleaf plantain right in front of me, so I'm going to pick a whole bunch of both. This will be our safe, good, healthy plant that we offer. And then columbine is supposedly a toxic plant for rabbits, so let's do some of that for our bad plant. Okay, we're back in the rabbitry. Let's start the experiment. So this is the columbine, and this is the plantain. we go. Let's see what happens. Nobody seems interested. It is late morning, so I missed my window of early activity for crepuscular animals like rabbits, the most active near dawn and dusk. So late morning isn't really the best time to do this, but this is as early as I could do it. So sadly today might have to be a check back later and see what's eaten day instead of a watch them eat it as we sit here day. You're not gonna eat it? It's right there. You're not going to? Okay. Well, if nobody's gonna eat anything, then I'm probably wasting my time just sitting here. They're all resting and tired, so I'm gonna go on with the rest of my day and come check back later. Bye, bunnies. It's evening now, and it looks like their bowl is tipped part way. I see a little bit of columbine, and from what I can tell, none of it looks eaten. And then nothing else in there. And then down below, looks like columbine. There's some more down here. He spilled it. Silly bunnies, you shouldn't spill your food. I want to grab all of it to notice what's been eaten and what hasn't been. There's a little bit more down there, but most of it's up here. Okay, so looks like obviously there's still a whole bunch. Then there's a few that looks like there's some bites taken out of them, but only like a few. So most of them haven't been eaten. And there's no sign of the plantain anywhere, so it looks like the plantain has all been eaten and the columbine is mostly left alone. Oh, and this stuff is paper shreds I added as part of our deep bedding system. It looks different than the straw, but we just had a whole bunch, so that's what that is. So this concludes day 2 of our experiment, and tomorrow we'll do round 3 and then we'll be done. I am going to gather one last safe green and one last toxic green, feed it to the rabbits, and see what they eat and what they don't eat, and how they fare. You guys ready for the last day? Last time of experimenting? You ready? Alright, let's go get the greens. For the safe plant, I'm going to just be doing some grass, regular old grass. Then for my supposedly toxic plant, I'm going to do perilla again. We've already seen what they do with perilla a previous time, but let's see what they do with it now. Okay, perilla is on this side, grass is on this side. Looks like Ivy's enjoying some of the grass. Is that yummy, Ivy? Good girl. So she finished her bite and smelled the perilla a little bit, then went past the perilla to the grass again. So far she's avoiding the toxic green. Are you coming up, Iantha? Oh, no? Okay. Ivy, you left too, so now it's all empty. You guys should start eating stuff. Well, it's looking like the rabbits aren't super into eating everything right now. It is, again, kind of later in the day, so I'll just leave everything as it is and come check back later and see how much of everything they've eaten. Oh, but while we're waiting, 2 super exciting things have happened. So, yesterday, they started digging a burrow, and look, it's a burrow, guys! Ronwin is in there, like, digging. I don't know why he's digging. Usually it's the doe who's pregnant who starts digging a burrow for her babies. Acrobat was doing it yesterday, but I guess now he's helping? I don't really know. But as you can see, it's kind of pretty deep already. It begins at the start of the cinder block, and yesterday it went to the end of the cinder block, and I think it's even going a little bit further than that. I can't entirely tell, but it's kind of getting there. As you can see, there's dirt kind of spread out everywhere, but as I've been reaching my hand in and feeling, the top is all bedding. So like the sides and like some of the top are dirt they're digging in, but the very top is just bedding. So our bedding is fine. Oh wow! Did you see this little over here sort of like booped up like he's trying to dig in there? So the roof is all bedding. So that's really good that we have bedding that's finally deep enough so that they can start digging. But that also means I have to never walk over here because the bedding, you know, isn't like dirt and it can easily fall in. So I don't want to accidentally crush any rabbits or baby bunnies who happen to be born in here in the future. And I just don't want to destroy their hard work. Then at the same time Acrobat was preparing a burrow yesterday, Ivy was pushing a whole bunch of bedding into the tube of this. and burying this nest box. As you can see, she pushed it, filled the entire tube, and is now adding more bedding in here. Like, she's blocking this place off from other rabbits in preparation for having babies. Like, she's claiming this area as her own. So, I mean, that might mean she's gonna have babies sometime too. I don't know. So we now have 2 signs that some mamas are preparing for the breeding season that will begin this fall. I don't know if they are pregnant or if just the seasons changing is causing them to prepare for having babies. I don't know if we're gonna have babies tomorrow or in a month or in more than a month. Last year we had babies in November, and then the year before that I think we had our first litter in October, and it's September still, so we might be a month or so away, if not more, from having babies. But I don't know, we could have babies tomorrow, so we will just have to wait and see. I am going to continue checking everywhere for babies twice a day, and I'll update you if any babies are born. It's evening now, and this is the result of leaving them alone for a day. It looks like most of the grass is eaten, as well as a large amount of the perilla. I'm looking under the slats, and it looks like there are like a few sprigs of perilla spilled, but most of it isn't. And as you can see, there are many twigs chewed off that weren't chewed off this morning. So they ate both the toxic green and the non-toxic green. So this concludes our experiment. All 3 times the rabbits ate all or most of the non-toxic green that was safe for them to eat. So we know that all the plants I fed them that were supposedly safe are in fact safe because they ate all of them. And on day 1 with the horse nettle, as well as today with the perilla, the supposedly toxic green was also eaten, either all of it or a lot of it or most of it. The horse nettle was eaten completely, so judging from the rabbit's actions, that plant is indeed safe, contrary to what people say. And though the rabbits didn't eat perilla the other time I fed it to them, they've eaten some of it now, so it's possible that perilla in the small amounts is okay for them to eat, or I don't know, but obviously it is okay for them to eat in some amount because they did eat it. So perilla is not a super toxic, they're gonna die if you ever feed it to them plant. And on day 2 with the columbine, they only ate maybe like a little nibble or 2. Most of it was left untouched. So judging from their actions, it's possible that the columbine is actually more toxic than all the other supposedly toxic plants we fed, because they ate the least of that. So perhaps they sensed that it was actually bad for them more so than any other supposedly bad plants. Now, of course, this is all one experiment with one group of rabbits, and just because I'm going to feed my rabbits horse nettle and maybe some perilla in the future because they eat it sometimes and are not suffering any ill effects, doesn't automatically mean that your rabbits won't be affected, and it's perfectly safe to feed any rabbit a whole bunch of this stuff. I can only share with you my experiences with my rabbits, and if I wanted to, I could do several more experiments with perilla, keep offering it to them and see if the majority of the time they do eat it or partly eat it or don't. But I think for now this small experiment is gonna be enough for me. All of my rabbits are alive and acting normally, so if in a few days or weeks one of them mysteriously drops dead, I'll let you know. But so far, just like every other time I feed them a whole bunch of random greens, they're eating supposedly toxic ones and not suffering any ill side effects. I don't know if my rabbits are just more hardy than regular rabbits. I don't know how people came to the conclusion that perilla is toxic for rabbits. I don't know if there's something in perilla that, if you eat pounds and pounds of it, then the rabbits will get sick, but the rabbits just never do eat pounds and pounds of it. They just regulate how much they should eat so you don't get a toxic problem. I don't know if people have tested perilla, giving perilla to rabbits, and they have had ill side effects, or if they're just, hey, this thing in huge amounts causes some problem in rabbits, and perilla has a thing in it, but perilla actually doesn't have enough of it to cause problems, or if it only has enough to cause problems in huge amounts and the rabbits just don't eat those amounts. So I don't know, but this is what I found, and hopefully it's helpful to you guys. Thanks for watching.